Let's talk about the next story that's starting to pick up steam. 89-year-old woman was attacked and set on fire in Brooklyn, New York. And this isn't getting a lot of media attention, which is a shame because it needs to. It absolutely needs to. Um, where do we start? All right. So for those who are lucky enough to live in their ivory tower and form their worldviews from the balcony of an all-inclusive resort somewhere, there's this thing that hasn't really happened in the United States, but it happens in other countries, a lot in South America. And this should be alarming. And I'm going to play the video. Well, I'm not really going to play the video. I'm just going to explain it. You can watch the video. And I would encourage you to not really look into dark places for what I'm about to explain. So these two young men, they appear to be either of Hispanic descent or white, decide to light this woman on fire. And in South America, they call them burn parties. If you're somebody who looks at the dark web, you can find these, and they're disturbing. And now it's in our backyard. And the way it works is that generally, and I'm not trying to give a blueprint of how this works to bad people, but what happens is one person, it's generally a group of two people, and one person will bring a cup of accelerant of some sort, and then the other person brings the lighter or the match or some sort of something to light the person on fire. They call them burn parties. And it just happens to random people that these generally young men who have a lot of animosity, they'll pick a total stranger walking down the street. One will douse the person in, say, gasoline as an example, and then as they're trying to figure out what the hell happened to him, the other person walks up behind them and lights them on fire, and then they sit and watch the person run around until they burn to death. You need to be aware of this, because this is, in my mind, this is a tactic that's being tested. Okay, so if you happen to be with the NYPD, realize that this is serious. This is not picking up steam as much as it should, and it could potentially endanger people's lives, because the people doing this have desensitized themselves to the value of human life to zero. And they think that this is fun. They think this is a game. And it isn't. It isn't a game. It's this 89-year-old woman. She's attacked. Somebody walked up, slapped her in the face, and then somebody else walked up behind her and lit the back of her on fire. And by all means, watch the video so you can see just in the image here on the left. They're covering themselves up. They look to be, like I said, of Hispanic descent or white. They're looking for the suspects. They've obviously covered their faces to avoid being caught, so they set out with the intent to do this. Okay, and she didn't know what happened, right? So you watch the video. Here's a sweet elderly lady who's just going to the store, doing whatever, and next thing she knows, she's on fire. If you see right here, they never attempted to steal anything. They weren't trying to rob her. They were trying to set her on fire. How horrific is this? And it's horrific that, one, it happened to an 89-year-old Asian woman. This could happen to mom and a baby in a stroller. This is serious. They're offering a $10,000 reward, and this isn't going to be a long video. You need to be aware of what is happening, okay? Because when we get to the extent and we look at the rioting that's happening in New York City or Chicago. Notice I didn't say protesting, because it is not protesting. When it gets to the Twinkie generation, the Hot Pockets, and all of the stuff that they're doing, because they've grown up playing first person shooter video games, and they're completely desensitized to the value of life. They hate themselves. They want to spread that hate. It's important to know that you need to protect your family, because you never know. This could literally happen in a busy place. It could happen anywhere. Okay. And think about this. I mean, everybody's wearing masks and hats and everything else. How much harder is it to identify these people and catch them on camera and see who they are, and make arrests and everything else? So realize that this is a possibility, because it started to happen in these little groups and circles of the Hot Pocket generation. They're sharing this stuff, and they're coming up with ways that they can cause damage. And it could be somebody's grandma or daughter or sister or husband or brother or whatever that looks like. And they can be a completely unsuspecting person just minding their own business, and the next thing they know, they're set up, they're being victimized by these people. Okay. I've said before that the commercial fireworks, stop calling them commercial fireworks. They're using them as incendiary devices. They're lighting, they're starting to light people on fire. That saddens my heart. I mean, I remember about 10 years ago, I said, if this ever happens in the United States, I'll leave, because it's such a disgusting thing that has been happening over the course of many years in other countries, and now it's here. Okay. I'm going to cut this off, because I mean, I've been doing a lot of videos about some just atrocious stuff, and it literally hurts my soul to see this and to read this and to watch these videos and have people not pay attention to how serious some of this stuff is that we're seeing could be. That's all I got. I mean, protect your families. These people are going crazy, and they don't care about you. They don't care about your family. They don't care about your rights. All they care about is exploiting what they feel is their rights. They're very entitled and very selfish. They are not protesters. They are rioters. And they're destroying the fabric of our country. They're destroying the fabric of our country because they had bad parents. They had bad teachers. They have this ideal in their mind that they're going to take over or overthrow the government or do whatever. And it's sad. It's absolutely sad to see what is happening. Don't let this, this was an attempt. This was an attempt. And if you're a police officer, watch out for this, because this is you guys standing in a protest riot line or whatever you call this, and an officer gets doused with an accelerant and lit on fire. I mean, that's where we're going. That's what we're starting to see. And God help you, because if you guys don't take this seriously, I hate to see the next step. Like and subscribe to this channel. We're building up some steam. This is a newer channel for us, and we'll bring you some more good stuff. And maybe the news that you're not seeing. Maybe I want to bring out some good stuff. I mean, it's just so hard for us to look at all of the headlines and see everything that's going on, and how do you be happy at the end of the day? How do you feel that your family's safe? How do you feel that, how can you feel any sense of goodness when you see what these young, atrocious people are doing? It's time to stand up. That's all I got.